Welcome, council, staff, and those joining us on YouTube. Welcome to today's festive Committee of the Whole meeting. We do have a special guest all dressed up here, and welcome, Santa. Anyway, I'll call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. We do have one additional item, 8.2 correspondence, SSEA Provincial Consultation Authority merger, so that'll be in 8.2. Approval of the agenda, the resolution that the Committee of the Whole agenda for December 10th, 2025 be approved. I have it moved by, or as amended, sorry. Councillor Raymond, Councillor Larma, all those in favor, and that is carried. Disclosures of interest. Any member have a disclosure? Councillor Raymond?
Thank you. Through the chair, item 5.1, I have just declared. Thank you. Through the chair, I've declared an interest in item 5.1. I have filled out the paperwork, so I will not be participating in that discussion.
Thank you, Councillor Raymond. So noted. Any others? Not seeing any. Presentations and delegations, we have none. Next, we have Protective and Development Services staff reports. We're turning this to the co-chair, Councillor LaChapelle, A.K. Santa Claus. Councillor LaChapelle.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And moving on to item 5.1, the PDS 2025-049, Manager Planning and Development Services, Rezoning Bylaw Amendment, File Number 2025, ZBA 05, and Draft Plan of Subdivision File Number 2025 Sub 01, 6424, 6474, 6462, Highway 93. I have a recommendation moved by Councillor Larman and second by Councillor Bumstead that item PDS 2025-049 dated December the 10th, 2025 regarding an application for zoning bylaw amendment file number 2025 ZBA 05 and draft plan of subdivision file number 2025 sub 01 6424 6474 6462 Highway 93 be received in that the zoning bylaw amendment file number 2025 ZBA 05 and draft plan of subdivision file number 2025 sub 01 respecting 6424 6474 6462 Highway 93 be approved on the basis that the applications are consistent with a provincial planning statement and conforms to the county's typical official plan and the Township of Tay official plan and represents good planning for the reasons outlined in PDS 2025-049 and that the related bylaw be brought forward for consideration during the council meeting. Discussion. Anything else to add, Mr. Weatherall?
Nothing to add, Chair. Just give you a bit of a history that we did have a public meeting back in July for the zoning bylaw amendment and the concept plan of subdivision. Since that time, staff has been working on reviewing reports. Part of that public meeting, a majority of the discussion was on the parkland dedication. The applicant came back with a smaller park, as most of the discussion was to create a parkette. So what we've done is implemented a smaller park, and the applicant will pay the 5% on the remaining parkland that's left over. So it satisfies, I believe, what council wanted at the time for a smaller park, as Waverley does have a fairly large park just across the highway. So other than that, we've been working with the applicant on the conditions of approval, and they're satisfied, and hopefully get approval for the proposed plan of subdivision and zoning bylaw amendment.
Any comments, questions from members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. Item 5.2, PDS 2025-048, Manager of Municipal Law Enforcement Services, Automated Speed Enforcement, ASE, Program Update. I have a recommendation moved by Deputy Mayor Norris, seconded by Mayor Walker, that item PDS 2025-048 dated December 10th, 2025, regarding an update on the Automatic Speed Enforcement, ACF, program be received. Anything further to add?
Thank you. Through the chair, nothing further to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? Mayor Walker.
Not a question. Santa, but a comment that it's unfortunate that this was canceled, because I really do think it had the effect of slowing traffic down. If you look at the one I travel all the time, William Street in Midland, it definitely slowed people down. And now that it's off, the speeds are starting to crawl back up there. So it's really unfortunate.
Any further comments? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Santa. Yeah, just a further comment on this. It is truly unfortunate, as the mayor has indicated, and I just find it strange that the premier and the minister turn around making mention that they'll be supplying additional signs. Let's face it, people don't even read the signs as they are now, so I'm not too sure where he's coming from, but hopefully the province does step in. Something has to be done. The driving of people on the roads is pretty lackadaisical. They don't understand the rules, so hopefully something will come down the line. Thank you.
Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. 5.3, PDS 2025-047, Manager of Municipal Law Enforcement Services, REAP, Monthly Activity Report. I have a recommendation moved by Councilor Raymond, second by Councilor Norman, that item PDS 2025-047, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, Municipal Law Enforcement Services, November 2025, be received. Anything further to add?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing further to add, but again, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor? And moving on to item 5.4. PDS 2025-0050, Chief Building Officials Manager of Building Services, monthly activity report. I have a recommendation moved by Mayor Walker, seconded by Councilor Norman, that item PDS 2025-050, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, Building Service Division, November 25, be received. Anything further to add, Jay?
Thank you through the chair. Nothing further to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Any comments, questions for the floor, members of council? Must be Christmas spirit. Nobody wants to ask anybody anything. All those in favor? That's carried. And item, the last one, 5.5, PDS 2025-046, General Manager of Protective and Development Service, Fire Chiefs, CMC, monthly activity report. I have a recommendation moved by Councilor Norman, seconded by Councilor Raymond. The item PDS 2025-046, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, General Manager, Protective and Development Service, Fire Chief, CEMC, November 25, be received. Mr. Amer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further to add.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. I turn it back to you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you all.
Thank you, Santa, and well done on the reports, staff. We'll move into operational services, and I'll turn the floor over to Councilor Lerma.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through you, I have item 6.1, OS 2025-024, General Manager of Operational Services, Manager of Engineering, monthly activity report. I have a recommendation moved by Councilor LaChapelle and seconded by Councilor Raymond that reads that item OS 2025-024, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, Operational Services, November 2025, be received. Mr. Barrio is not here, so nobody asked questions to. CEO.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, as you noted, GM Barrio is not in attendance. He happens to be on a call at the moment, but if there is anything that is, any questions, please let us know and we'll follow up with you.
Any comments from council? No? Okay. I'll now call for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Lerma, and again, great staff report, and I'm sure Sean's busy out there plowing. I think we're on our second trip around the municipality, so well done to the staff. Next item, we have corporate services. I'll turn it over to Councilor Bumstead.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Moving along to 7.1, CS-2025-095, Deputy Treasurer, tax sale results. I have a motion moved by Councillor Claus / LaChapelle and Councillor Larma that reads that item CS-2025-095 dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the November 26, 2025 property tax sale results be received, and that the property identified as roll number 4353050-077000000, 571 9th Avenue, sales tax number SETY 24-08008, which received no bids, be vested in the Township of Tay, and the treasurer be directed to complete a Schedule 4 notice of vesting in accordance with O Regulation 181/03 Municipal Sales Tax Rules. Emmy, do you have anything further to add?
I'll turn it over to Rebecca,
Okay.
but I have nothing further to add.
I have nothing further to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? Go ahead, Mayor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question, Rebecca. My understanding is if we had a property that was owed us $1,000, it goes to tax sale, and the bid that we accept is $1,500. My understanding is we get the 1,000, the 500 goes into the courts for a period of time that people can claim on it. What happens after that period? Do we get it, or does it stay in the court system?
So in the past, we used to be able to apply for it. That's no longer an option. It stays in the court system. So they have 10 years to claim it. If it's not claimed, the courts keep it.
Okay, I wondered if it had changed, because there's a couple there that are pretty... So, I own one of the properties then, and I didn't pay my taxes, and it's $1,000 again, and it goes for $1,500. So can I apply to the courts for the 500, or how does that work?
So it will be whatever is left after, like all of the fees are covered. So there may be additional fees after
Right.
that have been added. So once all of those are accounted for, there may not be 500 left, but whatever is left, they can apply
Then
for.
the owner of record would have the opportunity to get those funds back.
Correct.
Okay, good. That's all, Madam Chair, thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Councillor Bumstead. And Rebecca, maybe you can explain a little more on, say, on the 9th Street one where the municipality is going to end up taking ownership. Do we pay for the outstanding taxes? It's kind of in and out, but...
So my understanding of that process, and I'll have to do a little bit more digging into it, but my understanding is it gets written off and adjusted back to the original. So we would write off our portion, and we would bill back the portion to the county and the education portion.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Councillor LaChapelle?
Yeah, through the chair, just for clarification, and when I look at the map, I'm not assuming we're talking about all the stuff in pink, or are we just talking where the dot is, that little thin strip?
So it's just the little sliver in the middle of the pink. The pink is municipal-owned property that's surrounding the lot that did not get any bids.
Yeah, I just wondered about that part. I just didn't know if that was a right-of-way for drainage down the road at some point, because it just seems to be in the right spot for it. But we'll take possession, so we side with it, whatever, and becomes a part, whatever, number. Okay. Good.
Thank you. Any further comments? I will now call the motion. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Moving on to 7.2, CS-2025-090, Chief Administrative Officer, Deputy Clerk, Municipal Insurance Renewal, 2025-2026. I have a motion moved by Councillor Raymond, seconded by Councillor Larma, that item CS-2025-090 dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the municipal insurance renewal for 2025-2026 be received, and that staff enter into the municipal insurance renewal proposal with BFL Canada for the term December 31st, 2025 to December 31st, 2026, at a cost of $20,459, excluding PST, as generally outlined in item CS-2025-090. Andrea, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Chair, through you. This is generally a report that Council is familiar with seeing. It has been adjusted slightly because, as you know, Council agreed to move forward with the Simcoe County Municipal Insurance Pool. So this is only those items that aren't contained through the insurance pool. And the dollar and cents of it, we actually are seeing a slight decrease of $35.40 from last year's renewal.
Thank you. Comments or questions from Councillor LaChapelle?
Yeah, through the chair to the CEO. This is an information thing in regards to our insurance policy. I know dealing with the town of Midland, I don't know if we do it in TA or consider it. Part of the understanding of this new insurance program is that, for instance, my guy's team plays on Sunday morning. We're required to provide sermons and name in the municipality as a third party, and it costs us $500 for the year. I know we have teams or league. Do we apply this, or are we subject to the same thing when Midland is that for the sake of liabilities that we request the insurance for these users that are part of the system? Because I know Midland adamant he forces it. So it's just information you can find out. I appreciate it, but if they're in the same plan as we are, and they request this, I'm just considering whether we have looked into it or not for information. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further comments or questions from? Okay, I'll now call the vote. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. 7.3 CS-2025-097, Manager of Communications and Technology Services, monthly activity report. I have a motion made by Mayor Walker, seconded by Councillor Larma, that reads that item CS-2025-097, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, Communications and Technology Services, November 2025, be received. I don't see Elizabeth here, so any comments or questions from council? Seeing none, I will now call the vote. All those in favor, and that motion is carried. 7.4 CS-2025-096, Deputy Treasurer, monthly activity report. I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Norris, seconded by Mayor Walker, that reads that item CS-2025-096, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, financial services, November, be received. Rebecca, do you have anything further to add to your report?
Nothing further to add, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions or comments from Mayor Walker? Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of observations. The first is that the receivables are lower than compared to November of 2024, which is kind of surprising. It's good news. The other question I had was the e-billing. I see all the ads out there about win $100, I think it is. What kind of, are you getting good response to that?
We did when we first pushed it out. You can see in October we got 76 enrollments. It declined slightly in November to 61. So there are still more coming through than prior to that that contest being pushed.
Okay.
We are going to continue to advertise for that contest to see if it helps draw up any more interest.
Good, good. That's good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'll now call the vote. All those in favor, and that motion is carried. 7.5 CS-2025-088, Legislative Coordinator, monthly activity report. I have a motion moved by Councillor Raymond, seconded by Councillor Larma, that reads that item 2025-088 dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, Legislative Services, November 2025, be received. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I will now call the vote. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. 7.6, CS-2025-098, Chief Administrative Officer, Deputy Clerk, Monthly Activity Report. I have a motion moved by Councillor LaChapelle, seconded by Mayor Walker, that reads that item CS-2025-098, dated December 10th, 2025, regarding the monthly activity report, CAO Deputy Clerk, November 2025, be received. Do you have anything further to add, Andrea?
Thank you, Chair Bumstead. Nothing further, but here for questions if there are any.
Thank you. Comments or questions from council? Seeing none, I now call the vote. All those in favor? And that is carried. And then I will hand it back to you, Deputy Mayor.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Bumstead. Well done, staff. Great reports. I love the graphs, Rebecca. Well done. We'll move to item 8, other business. 8.1, we have a verbal report from Mayor Ted Walker, recycling services for small business and community organizations. Mayor?
Thank you, Chair. I think council is aware that as of the end of the year, county is no longer responsible for collecting recyclables. That will go to another firm. This is a provincial initiative. The problem is they will not be collecting recyclables from some of the organizations that the county used to previously collect from. So, for instance, the food bank, they will have to look after themselves for the recycling. Now, I talked to the food bank. They're concerned, of course, nonprofit organization. They estimate that they get 2 large bins of recycling each collection period. Then I had a call from the Victoria Harbour Legion with the same concerns. I talked to the Legion. They estimated it would cost them roughly about $120 a year if they brought the recyclables to the transfer station. So that brings up another point. My understanding was if you go to the transfer station with cardboard, it was free. You just put it in, you don't get charged. Is that still the way it is? Yes. What about cans? Like other? Metals are free. Okay. Because I was prepared to go to the county and suggest that the county waive the any transfer fee payments from organizations so that they don't incur that cost. So really, all they have to incur is getting it there. We certainly can't accommodate all of the groups, although I would like council to consider what we could do for the food bank. It's only 2 containers every couple of weeks. Madam CAO, do we get a free voucher? Yeah, for anything we drop off at the depot, at the transfer station?
We do have amnesty vouchers, yes.
Okay. So I just wonder if council and staff could consider what we could do for the food bank. As far as the Legion goes, the Legion is a business per se, and I think if they understood that they could still drop it off free, I think they'd be fine with that, because he said we could get volunteers to do that. So I'll get back to Dennis and talk to him, Mr. Esterbrook, about that, and that's good news, and I wouldn't have to bring that up to the county. We tried at the county to lobby the province to change their minds so that these nonprofit organizations could get picked up. We weren't successful. Although I would ask council to support the resolution from the town of New Tecumseh, which is basically saying what we tried to do at the county level, if we could support that, to see if there might be any last minute changes from the province. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Questions, Santa?
Yeah, to the chair, to Mayor Walker, maybe, I've always following this, and can never figure out why the province stepped in. Can you give us some insight to Mayor Walker? Because I was always curious why this ever occurred. Like, was Nate not happy with the county services, or do you think they can do a better job? Like, what was the reason to split this?
Yeah, actually, what it is it won't be the province collecting, it will be the groups that make recyclable, like the businesses and industry that makes, recycle. So what the province is saying is you should be paying to recycle that stuff. Unfortunately, this other part of it, I don't know if the province didn't think of it or they overlooked it somehow. But initially, when we did lobby the province, they indicated it looked favorable, but then they turned it down. Now, the other thing to point out is the county won't have any recycling vehicles anymore. All the vehicles that collect now are under contract. They're leased. They'll go back to the company, and all the county will be collecting from January on will be the normal garbage and compost.
Yeah, it's just through the answer question to that part. And I understand. I'm just curious how long this will last before there's some complication and breakdown, because how many people or organizations provide these garbage? I mean, even Dollarama makes things, they throw it. I mean, there's so many different organizations that create. How do they plan to get this funding from all these people to make this work? My only fear down the road, we may end up paying back again for this stuff, because I just don't see how they're going. How do they calculate what percentage? It just seems to be interesting. That's all.
Yeah, well, the fear is that the people will simply put the recyclables into the regular garbage.
Exactly. That's what I get at.
So we will lose from that perspective, is that we won't be capturing the recyclables anymore. Because if you were a small nonprofit organization and you had no option, what are you going to do? So that's the danger. Now I imagine that the county will be monitoring it very closely, but
Yeah, but now you're getting to the point I was going to bring up last, is that if I'm an individual and if all this aggravation, I'll throw it in with the county. All of a sudden, our tonnage goes up, our costs go up, because we're subject to whatever goes across the scales. So I'm just curious, my last question, how are they going to monitor that to see who's doing what? Because I can see this down the road, all this time we spent getting to where we are, and all of a sudden they pull the plug on it.
yeah.
I just find it odd.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and the county does monitor. For instance, they've been really on there's a lot of compost materials going in the garbage that are eligible to go compost.
Mm-hmm.
So they do monitor it, but yeah, that's the fear.
Yep,
is
okay.
that this is going to do more harm than good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I think just to elaborate on it, where this is all coming from is basically the province is setting back. It's the manufacturers of the product. They're now responsible for the collection of their packaging. So that's where this is all stemming from. All the province has turned around and has indicated to the manufacturers they have to be responsible. So I think it's, I just had it up, Circular Materials are the ones that are contracted to look after all the recycling here in the county. So it's their responsibility to turn around and pick it up. Where we're getting into, that's strictly for residential. It's the commercial part. You're right in what you're saying. We're gonna end up with recyclables in the garbage. However, the county isn't responsible for commercial pickup. So it falls back onto the commercial owners. They're gonna be paying for it. Where we're into, it's the not-for-profit, the food
Yeah,
organization.
it's not changing for the commercial places, but it's the nonprofit that are getting hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious where this funding comes from. Somebody has to be putting this money into this pot to make this work. So how does the government regulate that? Who puts in what percentage? That's what when I read that, I really can't get an answer on that, how that's gonna work. I just have fear down the road, this is gonna become a gong show, or somebody's gonna realize it wasn't really well put together, and we're back in the same crap that we did 25 years ago. So we'll see how it works, I guess.
Yeah, the bottom line comes, it's the manufacturer. That's who's gonna get billed back, so.
Okay,
And
thank you.
the danger, if I might, Mr. Chairman, the danger is that there's probably a lot of nonprofit groups out there that aren't going to realize this is happening until they put out their recyclables for the first time,
That's right.
and they don't get picked up. So the approach that we've had from the Legion and from the food bank, there may be more out there that we don't even realize are nonprofit, and they will be approaching either us or their host municipality along these lines as well.
Okay, good.
And just to further, the county has been very active. I think that we started well over a year ago notifying the province. You've got a situation coming through to deal specifically with commercial. And as the mayor indicated, it looked favorable at one point, and then, when was that, August? Basically, they just pulled the plug, so the province has kind of walked away. But I fully support New Tecumseh's resolution. It's still on the books from the county. More municipalities that address this would force the province to step up.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Thank
CIO
you.
Fay.
Thank you. Would you like me to read the resolution?
Yes.
Or recommend? Okay.
Better than me.
That the Council of the Township of Tay supports the resolution from the Town of Newmarket dated December 2nd, 2025, related to an urgent request for provincial action to preserve recycling services for small businesses and community organizations.
So,
Madam Chair, you said Newmarket?
New Tecumseh.
If I did, I apologize. New Tecumseh.
Right, okay.
Councillor Raymond, second. Deputy or Mayor Walker, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Next item is 8.2. This is the add-on. It's to deal with correspondence from SSEA, the Provincial Conservation Authority merger. I asked to bring this forth. There's been all kinds of reports that have been coming in from the province. Basically what they're contemplating at this point is taking the 36 different conservation authorities across the province. I believe there's 5 conservation authorities that are in northern Ontario that this will not impact. Most of the impact is in southern Ontario. Where we get into the Huron Superior Regional Conservation Authority, when the mapping originally came out, we were not part of it, along with Midland, Penetang, and Tiny. We were not included within that conservation authority. However, when the supplement came out in the written documentation, they listed us as being part of that regional conservation authority. CAO Fay reached out to the ministry to say, wait a minute, there's a discrepancy. She did get notified, and I think council was apprised of the report coming back that we are not part of that conservation authority. So we are still under SSEA. SSEA is suggesting at this point to turn around and look at it. The opportunity is there for comments to put through to the province, and whether or not this municipality is interested in joining a conservation authority. Basically, there's 3 primary watersheds within the province of Ontario, and that's cut down to, I believe it's 30 secondary watersheds. So once again, the dividing line for the Huron Superior is basically straight across the Vasey Side Road. Where we're not sure on what's going to transpire is Oro-Medonte and Springwater. Both municipalities are part of the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority and the Nottawasaga Conservation Area. We don't know what's going to happen with their contributions being a partner with SSCA. So that's up in the air. We're not sure. I did throw out some actual, the act for council to kind of get familiar with what the act actually entails for conservation authorities. I'm sure our manager of planning will be able to speak to some of the pros and cons to conservation authorities, but I thought it was worthwhile to have the conversation at this point, so we can move forward on that. So Todd, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but you've been involved with conservation authorities before, so.
Certainly, Chair. Previous employment, I've worked in other municipalities that have had CAs. Pros are that they have the expertise in regulating their authorities, so their acts with watersheds and things such as that. Part of the negativity is basically timing for permits. They do get held up with reviews from conservation authorities, and it seems to upset residents when they are applying for permits because everything's in a rush apparently, and unfortunately they do take their time reviewing applications. So that's probably the only drawback I see from joining a CA, is that residents do get upset with timing.
Great, thanks, Mr. Arthur. Question, Councillor Santa.
Yeah, it's to the chair, to Deputy Mayor. I guess when I kind of look at this, and I appreciate your insight to this, the big implication for me is all about the money and the costing. How do we proceed moving forward? Because, for instance, if the Oro-Medonte and these other places are moved, all of a sudden that's a huge impact to us. Am I right or wrong with that? Because their costs are part of SSCA. And right now we're experiencing what happens with Georgian Bay moving out, and all of a sudden they move out. Where do we sit? And then I guess the other part of it, when we talk about merger, should we not be going to the province about implementing some of these things that they do in with the service? I think where we can save money, I mean, as we go through the deliberation about budgets, everything keeps going up, and if we all realize we're in tough times. So I'm just curious, how do we address this moving forward now to start dealing with, instead of waiting for something to happen? Is there some kind of plan that we can kind of investigate and find what's the best scenario for us to stay moving forward?
Well, I guess that's why I brought it forward.
Right, correct.
Basically, as it is right now, it is an unknown what will in fact happen to the two partners that are part of the new region, whether or not they will have to still commit to SSCA, I'm not sure. So I don't know that part of it. The funding part of it, that's why I threw in there and actually Emmy was able to turn around and get that. Everything as far as funding goes for conservation authorities is what they call a modified assessment. So basically the total assessment is how the funding formula works. We're at this point, SSCA is re-looking at the new formula at this point. The way we have done it for SSCA is 45% is split amongst the partners for core services. The remaining 55 is comprised from assessment value. So that's kind of the funding formula for SSCA. The dilemma with SSCA is the assessment's still based on 2007. So there's quite a change coming forth if we do go to 2016. There is concern there because it's like everything's transparent. However, SSCA have not been able to turn around and update the assessment. Evidently, Georgian Bay would not release their assessment. So I do know the mayor and Councillor Wojciech were at the the consultation, or when we had our special board meeting where the consultant was presenting different funding formulas, they were made aware of that and it was noted. So I'm not too sure where we're at. Georgian Bay still does have to the end of the year to formally either jump or whatever. So
If I may, then, it sounds like the unknown will never be known until we see what the final outcome of all these people, that, then we can address at that point, because we, you know, from us, it's the best interest of the municipality, and I look out our buyout clause a year and all this stuff, is all of a sudden, if it doesn't become favorable, you know, we're kind of tied in for you. I just find this kind of interesting how you move forward with it, so I guess the best thing what you're suggesting, we may have to see how the cards fall in this thing, and then take our position from that point on then.
I would think so as far as funding goes. I think once you get back into the easiest way, and I think when you look at the Nottawasaga, you could take Agila, Tazaronto. They're pretty close to the same population, pretty close to the same amount of assessment. They do pay probably an extra 20,000 more than what we contribute to SSCA. So the funding formula, you're probably fairly close. I think we do stand a better chance with SSCA at this point, just as the manager has indicated. But you're right. Once the chips are all laid out, I think we may be able to make a better call at that point. So,
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Walker?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of points. Georgian Bay not releasing their assessment, I find that hard to believe. I think you could look that up in an FIR, could you not?
It might be more difficult because it's not all their whole municipality.
Pardon me?
It's not their whole municipality that's within Severn Sound. So I don't know if the numbers of their assessment that is within SSCA boundaries would be readily available.
And that's one of the problems that I have with the SSCA, is who's assessed for what.
Ah,
And
yes.
And Santa hit it dead on. It all comes down to cost. And Township of Tay took a lot of heat a couple of years ago from other municipalities and SSCA for insisting on more financial transparency and also responsibility. This year, actually, they're coming in pretty good. But as far as the assessment being released, that's going to be up to the province if we do the upgrade, because they've been talking about that for a couple of years now, and they haven't done it yet. So we're still at that old number. So the province will decide when that happens, that we're going to go to the new assessment. But it comes down to expense, really. And I just find with SSCA that it was going a little bit off the end with the annual increases that we were subjected to. And I still don't agree with the funding formula that Tay is subjected to from the SSCA. If they're only a portion of Georgian Bay Township, and then if you look at a portion that we have on Georgian Bay or Hawks Bay in relation to our agricultural community, something's not adding up. So hopefully this study they're doing will come up with some positive changes to how they calculate the levies for the different municipalities. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'll just jump on. It didn't make sense when that came up the other day to deal with the assessment, why Georgian Bay.
Yeah.
My understanding, or the way it got explained to me, is impact cannot actually, even though the numbers are there for the total assessment, it's strictly up to each municipality to turn around and authorize impact to let those numbers go. That's what I got told. So whether that's true or correct, it's beyond me.
Yeah, Georgian Bay is immaterial. Like how they calculate Georgian Bay, I don't care.
Nope.
Assessment-wise, Georgian Bay is getting out. So that's going to be a problem. And if these other two municipalities jump out because of this, then the SSCA is in real difficulty. And our choices then may be forced
And Tad,
instead of what we'd like to do.
and Tad, what you're saying, Mayor Walker, this is what I would talk about cost, is that assessment that exists now was unknown, and all of a sudden they go, how does that affect ours? It will go up because percentage-wise, I really don't know our percentages, but if we're greater than anybody else because of our shoreline, then all of a sudden these people come out. I hate to see what that spike would be, that jump would be, and I guess this goes back to that unknown again, but I have my fear that what that's going to materialize in the future, and it ain't going to be pretty. So I don't know how we become proactive in slowing this down, whatever, but I appreciate it, sir. I think, Deputy Mayor, it's great to have this conversation now, and I think it's worthwhile to kind of revisit this, but at some point down the road, it's going to have a huge impact on us, personally. It will. I can't see it any other way. So we think we pay a lot now. It could double. It could even triple. Who knows? And I ain't prepared to go up any higher than what we are now. I'd like to go lower instead of higher.
Well, that would be depending on, like, it's all to do with the report.
Yes.
So far, the province have not forced our municipalities to join a conservation authority. So it's, that part still, my understanding, has not changed.
Should we?
Not to say the province couldn't step in and say, no, now all of a sudden you will. You are correct. We don't know what's going to happen with SSCA. If at a point in time it does become a lot more expensive throughout the partners, we could bow at that point in time, look at it further, whether we decide to join the Conservation Authority. You could look at that, or you could turn around and hire within. That's how I would see this coming.
But just on that, if you don't mind, Mayor, I don't know what kind of funding for the Conservation Authority the promise will be, part of. Like, I mean, I'm assuming if they're pushing this, there's got to be some form in place that they're going to provide funding for this, are they not? For the Conservation Authority, it's not going to be based all on strictly the municipalities that they push into this bucket, are they?
Yeah, the province does not contribute any monies to conservation authorities. That's my understanding. It's all back on municipalities, so. Mayor?
My understanding is that the conservation authorities levy based on assessment. They don't go into how much shoreline you've got or anything like that, which in our case would be more favorable, depending on the total cost of the services that they're providing. One of the issues I have with SSCA is some of the services that they're providing are really outside of the purview of delisting Severn Sound.
Correct.
And they're not necessarily things that we would implement on our own. So, as was mentioned, there's going to be some decisions to make. Unfortunately, that are going to be forced upon us by decisions that others make first.
Okay.
So those other two municipalities, their decision, if they decide they're just going to go Conservation Authority, SSCA is in trouble.
I would think so. Councilor Raymond?
Thank you, through the chair. Yeah, it's ironic that one of the best things a municipality can do is plan fiscally, budgets, put all your thoughts together. And here we have a pretty big gunshot that's headed our way one way or another, sooner or later. It just seems, from what I'm listening to here, is that the Conservation Authority, it'll be sort of like a fixed cost. We'll have a better understanding of our costs, and it won't really go up or down, based on our assessment, other than our assessment. Whereas the SSCA,
Beyond.
2 might leave. Next year, maybe a third will leave. And, each time, we're stuck with the is it 12 or 24-month period where we still have to pay into it before we can actually leave. So that also removes our ability to plan, I'm concerned about how this is going to play itself out. At the end of the day, it just seems logically, without knowing dollar values, that the CA would be a bit of an easier pick, because it's a lot easier for us to do our budgets and planning on a year-to-year basis. Whereas SSCA, who knows? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump in. Based on the funding formula that Emmy was able to get with the Nottawasaga, their numbers fluctuate quite a bit. Because once again, it's all based on the assessment. That's provincial law. That's how they determine it. I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, but it was an increase of over 20,000 in one particular year for, I can't remember if it was New Tecumseh or whatever, but
Based on assessment, though,
it's,
because their assessment went up so much.
that's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where, I mean, I guess I kind of look at it, I agree, it should not be strictly on the shoreline. Every property within each municipality should be contributing
The watershed.
to the, yeah,
Uh,
where we get into, I don't know where you stop, because Lake Simcoe,
Yeah.
that watershed drains into Georgian Bay.
Yes.
Nottawasaga drains into Georgian Bay. So again, it's like, okay, so they're doing their part. Well, what happens between coming across the Severn River? That becomes an SSEA problem. Like, it's very convoluted, let's put it that way. And I guess that's why I brought it up. I didn't know whether or not we wanted to make any comment to the province on this, so. Mayor Walker?
Just one more thing, and I don't think it's necessary for us to make a comment to the province. It's not going
No.
to make any difference. The other
Yeah.
thing is that the two municipalities that may decide to go with the Conservation Authority, I would expect that they would approach the province to pass legislation so they did not have to pay this remaining one-year fee that's in the SSA agreement. The province can override municipal agreements. Certainly, if I was one of those municipalities, that's something I would ask for, that they would waive that one-year penalty.
It's,
So,
Councillor Bumstead?
Through the chair, I'm just curious, so the SSEA is the Source Protection Authority for the Severn Sound Municipality. Who designates them as the authority? Is it the government, the province?
Todd or Sean be able to jump in, but quickly, it's under the auspices of the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority. They are the governing authority for our particular area. Correct?
So they're delegated? Is that what you're saying?
Province delegated the authority for source water protection to the Lake Simcoe Conservation Authority, who in turn hired SSEA to monitor ours. That's my understanding, or no?
Deputy Mayor?
I don't, sorry. I don't believe so. I believe it's just we're outside of the CA areas, and
Yes.
councils of the day have adopted them as our
Correct.
our source water protection.
Yeah. Yeah, the authority given to the SSCA is
It's
through
from
the
us.
municipal agreement.
Correct.
Signed into. It's not tied to any other, no. And we don't have to be members of
Source what?
the SSCA, and I don't think we have to be members of the Conservation Authority.
Correct.
So, it's basically up to us, but the SSCA, the responsibility there is simply through the municipal agreement that was entered into years ago.
Yeah, just for clarification, you're talking source water protection though, are you not, Councillor Bumstead? Which is a totally different animal than SSEA. SSEA look after the source water protection. That's provincial law.
Well, I don't know where you're going with this, like, I don't,
No, it says SSEA is the Source Protection Authority
Yeah.
for the
Point blank.
Severn Sound municipalities.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
we're not talking the water,
No, no.
so to do with water
Water?
systems.
Yep, yep.
But they do say it will be important to monitor the Clean Water Act for changes.
Which is a short, yes.
See,
and
the
it's-
SSA
it's-
was
Yes.
originally formed, it wasn't, all their responsibility then was to delist the Severn Sound. Yeah, single mandate, and that was
Yep.
accomplished. And there used to be Keith Sherman
By himself,
himself for a long time, but, anyway.
whatever.
It's a little confusing on that part because under the Water Act, it's what they refer to as the Source Water Protection Act. My understanding was, it was always Lake Simcoe. Lake Simcoe turned around and delegated the authority to SSCA to monitor it. We pay a separate fee for that service.
Yeah, yeah. Just a,
It's immaterial anyway.
To be continued.
Yeah.
I can look into it further, but that was my understanding.
well, just a final thought, if I'm like, and like what the Mayor Walker said about Oro and Springwater, I guarantee you, when they do an assessment-based costing, it'll be far less what they do into with SSCA, because SSCA performs way beyond what is expected in the requirement of the CA. Don't forget, we do all this other stuff that's, like with Fragmati, these are all little components that have come into this thing that won't be part of it. So I guarantee you, when they really look at it, and I agree with Mayor Walker when he says, when they see this, I can see it blowing out of SSCA based on just that information when it comes into the fax spread. So that's where we're gonna get ourselves in trouble as we move forward. And I like the discussion, I think it was good, so, thank you.
Okay, and not seeing any other questions, so there's no direction for staff at this point, so we'll move on as soon as I get the agenda back up. Oop. Okay. Items for information, we have none. Delegation follow-up, we had none. General discussion, committee staff questions and answer period. Councillor Walker.
Just
Or
to, just,
Mayor Walker.
thank you. Just to point out that we're a little different today. We're doing committee. We will be doing a regular council meeting at 6 o'clock tonight. So anyone interested, that's when we will begin our regular council meeting. Just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Mayor.
And on that, Santa will be departing, he's got work to do at North Pole, so he may not be here for that. Gerard will be back in his place.
Thank you, Santa, and see if you can find Gerard for us. He's probably at the golf course.
If your worship, I'm thinking that the elf will also be leaving us to help Santa.
It could be a quick meeting then.
Okay, any other general discussion? Not seeing anything. That moves us into closed session. 12.1, we have retired to a closed session. Resolution that the Committee of the Whole retired to a closed session at 3:58 p.m. under the authority of the Municipal Act, Section 2392E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or the local board. Have it moved by Mayor Walker, seconded by Councillor Larma. All those in favor? And that is carried. So we'll take a 2-minute break here.
Maybe
Or
10 minutes, maybe?
10-minute break?
No, I mean, we'll only be about 10
Oh,
minutes.
we'll only be about 10, yeah,
Just
I
for,
think.
yeah.
Welcome, we're back live. So we did meet for a closed session reporting. There's nothing coming out of the closed session. So that leads us to item 14, adjournment, the resolution that the committee of the whole meeting adjourn at 4:05 p.m. And we'll be reconvening at 6 p.m. for our regular council meeting. Have it moved by the Councilor Raymond, seconded by Councilor Larma. All those in favor, that is carried. Thank you all.